Good afternoon. Today I want to talk about healthy decision making, or another way of saying this is choice. This was interesting because what I have found in my time is that most people want the freedom to make choices and at the same time dread making decisions for their lives. So let me take a step back. When we talk about healthy decision making, there's a reason that I'm not saying good or bad. The reason that I'm not going to do that is because what is right for me might not be good for somebody else, which is totally fine because we're different people. So instead, I like to ask, is a decision or a choice that someone is getting ready to make, is it going to benefit them overall? So I do want to take some time with this idea of healthy decision making because so often I hear people say, well, I didn't have a choice. I didn't have a choice. I just had to do this. And when we break it down, that's not necessarily true. There are decisions being made all the time. Something that I notice is a lot of times people confuse healthy risk taking with impulsivity. And what I mean by that is when someone's being impulsive, they're more operating with this idea of better to get forgiveness than permission. That's more on the impulsive side. Healthy risk taking, well, that's something that you've thought through. Yes, there are potential downfalls. However, you think that the pros of attempting something is going to outweigh the cons. For example, I'm from Michigan. I am a Michigander at heart, yet I moved to California. So with that, making that decision to move to California was huge. I was leaving family, incredible friends. I was leaving the life that I had known. However, when I made that decision, I did so weighing the pros and the cons. And I decided that it was going to be the best decision for me, even if at some point I had to go back home. That was a risk that I took. It was a decision that I made to take the risk. However, that decide to move from Michigan to California was definitely not impulsive. The other thing I might consider when faced with this idea of making a healthy decision is, well, would you tell somebody before you made that decision? I remember when some of these social media platforms were just coming out, a basic rule of thumb was, I'm not posting anything anywhere and I wouldn't want my mother to see it. Number one, she's going to see it anyway. She just has these powers. She just knows what's going on. It's kind of annoying. But on the other end of that, if I wouldn't want her to see it, why would I then post it for the world to then see? So that was this idea of weighing the pros and the cons of making a decision of if I was going to post something or not. Another kind of consideration to make in regard to making healthy decisions is there any chance that you could get hurt? Or any chance you could hurt somebody else, either on purpose or by accident? Because either way, if someone else is harmed because of a decision that you made, because of a behavior that you chose to do, there may be natural consequences that come from that. That's going to kind of lead me to another consideration, which is this idea of playing the tape through. So when you're deciding on a decision, if you're deciding if you want to go out or not tonight, if you're deciding if you want to call that person or not, when you're deciding if you want to go to that school or not, being able to really think through, again, the pros and the cons. Play the tape through. Let's say you go ahead and you engage in that behavior. What is the most likely outcome? So if you go out drinking with some friends and you need to get home, yet you're tipsy, you're feeling a bit faded, and you make that choice to drive home, what could potentially happen if you get into an accident? Are you going to be able to manage the consequences of that behavior? So it's this idea of playing the tape through, thinking through a behavior or a decision from beginning to end, and not only relying on that instant gratification, which is that immediate, that feels nice. I worked in substance use, and instant gratification often led people to a much different problem. So when you are thinking about making a decision or making a choice, please take a second and think it through. And there are going to be some people I know that will say, well, what if I'm getting mugged? Right? What if someone is trying to do something to me? I don't have a choice. Well, not necessarily true. Let's say I'm walking to my car and someone tries to rob me. I have a choice whether I'm going to scream or not. I have a choice in whether I'm going to attempt to throw my keys or my wallet in a different direction and then take off in the opposite direction in hopes that that person chooses the money or the vehicle over me. It may or may not work. Right? A choice may not work out to my benefit. However, what would be my alternative? What are my options? And what is the outcome that I'm going to be able to handle the best? So I do hope that this video was helpful in being able to evaluate this idea of healthy decision making. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. Thank you so much for spending time with me today, and again, allowing me the opportunity to present this information in a way that, Lord, help me make sense. Thank you so much. Please stay safe, take care of yourselves, and as always, peace and love. Don't worry about my hand. It's the case of the over 30s. Anybody over 30, you understand exactly what I'm talking about. Take care.